What if I told you the worst year in human history wasn't during a world war or the Black Death, but a year you've probably never even heard of? We're going back to 536 AD, a year so terrible, so catastrophic, that a Harvard historian called it the worst year to be alive. So, what happened? Imagine waking up one morning and the sun is just gone. Not an eclipse, not a cloudy day. For 18 straight months, a mysterious, dense fog blanketed Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. The sun, when it was visible, was described as being as dim as the moon, casting a bluish, sickly light. People were terrified. They thought the gods had abandoned them, or that the world was ending. And, in a way, it was. This wasn't just a spooky atmospheric effect. The sunless year had devastating consequences. Without sunlight, temperatures plummeted. We're talking about the most severe and protracted cooling event in the Northern Hemisphere in the last 2,000 years. It snowed in China during the summer. Frost and ice destroyed crops from Ireland to the Far East. The staple grains that fed entire civilizations failed, year after year. The result? Widespread, catastrophic famine. The historian Procopius, who lived through it in Constantinople, wrote that the sun gave forth its light without brightness, like the moon, during this whole year. He described a world gripped by constant fear, where war seemed to stop because there was nothing to fight over and no energy to fight with. In Ireland, the chronicles speak of a failure of bread from the years 536-539. In China, historical records mention massive crop failures and a yellow dust that rained from the sky. People were starving. They ate whatever they could find. Roots, grass, even things we can't imagine. Society began to break down. The economic engine of the world ground to a halt. Trade routes collapsed. Without crops to sell, farmers had no income. Without goods to trade, merchants went bankrupt. The Roman Empire, already weakened, was pushed closer to its final collapse. The intricate web of civilization that had taken centuries to build was unraveling in a matter of months. So, what caused this global nightmare? For centuries, it was a complete mystery. People blamed divine wrath or evil omens. But today, thanks to modern science, we have a much clearer picture. The culprit was a volcano. A massive, cataclysmic volcanic eruption. Scientists studying ice cores from glaciers in Switzerland and Antarctica have found the smoking gun. Trapped deep within the ice are microscopic layers of volcanic ash and sulfate particles. By analyzing these layers, they can pinpoint volcanic events with incredible accuracy. And what did they find in the layer corresponding to the spring of 536 AD? A huge spike in volcanic debris. The leading theory points to a colossal eruption somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere, most likely in Iceland or North America. This wasn't just any eruption. It was so powerful that it spewed an enormous cloud of ash and sulfuric acid droplets high into the stratosphere. This volcanic veil then spread across the Northern Hemisphere like a giant shroud, blocking out the sun's rays and triggering a volcanic winter. The sheer scale of this event is hard to fathom. We're talking about an eruption many times more powerful than anything in recorded history, like Krakatoa or Mount St. Helens. It literally changed the climate of the entire planet overnight. And just when you think things couldn't get any worse, they did. As if the world wasn't suffering enough, a few years later, in 541 AD, the first great pandemic of bubonic plague, known as the Plague of Justinian, swept across the weakened and starving populations. Think about it. The people who survived the endless winter and the brutal famine were now faced with a terrifying new disease. It spread like wildfire through the port cities of the Mediterranean, carried by fleas on rats that hitched rides on grain ships. It's estimated that the Plague of Justinian killed between 30 to 50 million people, possibly wiping out as much as half of the population of the Byzantine Empire. Historians believe the famine and social chaos of 536 and the years that followed made the plague's impact much, much worse. People were malnourished, their immune systems were weak, and they were often huddled together in cities for safety, creating the perfect breeding ground for disease. The combination of the volcanic winter, the global famine, and the subsequent plague plunged the world into what some historians call the Late Antique Little Ice Age. This was a century-long period of cooling and turmoil that effectively slammed the door on the classical world of Rome and Greece and ushered in the Dark Ages. This wasn't just a bad year, it was a turning point in history. The economic depression lasted for a century. The political landscape of Europe was redrawn. New kingdoms rose and fell in the chaos. The world that emerged from this period of darkness was fundamentally different from the one that entered it. The story of 536 AD is a chilling reminder of how fragile our civilization is, how dependent we are on the delicate balance of our planet's climate. A single geological event, thousands of miles away, can bring the world to its knees. It's a story that was hidden for centuries, buried in ice and written in the faint chronicles of terrified monks. But through the incredible work of historians, archaeologists, and climate scientists, we've been able to piece together this horrifying chapter of our past. It shows us that history isn't just about kings and battles, it's also about volcanoes, climate, and the enduring struggle for survival. So next time you're having a bad day, or even a bad year, maybe take a moment to think about the people of 536. They endured 18 months without the sun, years of famine, and a devastating plague. Their story is a powerful testament to human resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship. It puts our own troubles into a bit of perspective, doesn't it? If you found this journey back to the worst year in history as fascinating as I did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. Let me know in the comments what other historical mysteries you'd like me to cover. See you in the next video.